Okay, this video pretty much helps you with your lab. So this is how to use an ammeter and a voltmeter and what they're used for. So we measure current in amps. So the ammeter is used to measure the current. Now, doesn't that make sense? So this is used to measure current. Okay, and current, remember, is measured in amps, amperes. Okay, and so in order for it to measure the current, this goes in the circuit. So this needs to be placed in the circuit. And I'll show you what that looks like later. So don't, just kind of keep that in mind. It needs to be part of the circuit so the current flows through it. Now our voltmeter is, hey, how about that? It's measuring volts. It's measuring our voltage or our volts. Okay, and so really what you're getting is a difference in energy from two different points. So a voltmeter is placed across, and we'll show you what that means too. It's placed across the part of the circuit you're looking at. Okay, so let's see what those actually look like. Okay, so this is what the front of the ammeter looks like. It's actually a 3D box. I kind of took the picture from the side, so, or from the front. It continues like that. So it's a little box, and there's a negative terminal, and this goes to the negative terminal of the battery, and then there's 3 different positive terminals on the ammeter, and the different terminals depend on how strong your current is. So this first one tells us that we have 50 milliamps. So this is 50 milliamps. So if we have super small currents, we're going to use this one. Most of our currents are going to be in here, and we're going to use 500 milliamps. Occasionally we are going to use the 50 milliamps. Very rarely, though, will we use this one. This is 5 amps. Okay, so if you focus here on the scale on the top, you see that you have different ranges of numbers here. So if I'm on the 50 milliamp post, I'm going to read the scale that goes from 0 to 50 milliamps. If I'm on the 500 milliamp post, I'm going to read the scale that goes from 0 to 500. So this is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And then if I'm on the 5 amp post, I'm going to read this bottom scale that goes from 1 to 5, from 0 to 5 amps. Okay, so on the bottom it's amps, and across the top it's milliamps. Milli, just like millimeter, it's the same thing. So let's see how we would hook it up into a circuit. This is our simple circuit, and in our simple circuit, the electricity goes from the positive and then into the light bulb and then back all the way around. So this is a super simple circuit. It's got 1 resistor in it, and when we put the ammeter in, we actually need to take this and disconnect it here, and then we'll move the ammeter so that this current is actually going through it. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is our circuit with the ammeter in it. Okay, our positive terminal, and then it goes in the light bulb, out of the light bulb. Remember in the videos, be the current, be the current. Okay, it's going to go in the positive, out the negative, and then to the negative terminal of the battery. And so do you see how the current is actually going through the ammeter, and then we can record its current. Okay, so this happens to me 75% of the time. And what happened here is my needle went negative. And there's no little lines over here, so I can't read anything over here. It's not a huge big deal. All it means is that where I've hooked it up on the positive and negative, I hooked it up backwards. Basically, I wasn't paying attention which side was the positive side, which side was the negative side. It doesn't ruin anything, so that's a good thing. It doesn't ruin anything. But all you have to do is take these two and switch them. Well, that was kind of cool. It's like that. Take those two and switch them. So here's another situation that occurs when you use an ammeter. We had it plugged in. Do you see how now our needle, which was over here in the negative, has gone off scale? Okay, that basically means that our current is bigger than the 50 milliamps that this post corresponds to. So what we need to do is, this is still not a big deal, you haven't broken anything. Just take this and move it over to the next most sensitive post. And then you should see this. So we need to record this current. Now you can see that we are plugged into the 500 milliamp post. So we need to read the scale that goes from 0 to 500. So this is 100 and the long line's 50, so it's a little bit more than 150. It is about 153 milliamps. Okay, notice I approximated that last term. It's okay to do that. You're just going to read between the lines and approximate where it is in between. So this one comes out to about 153 milliamps. If my thing would have gone off scale again, I would have taken this and bumped it up to the 5 amp, but we're not going to see that too often. You're actually, in one of your labs, it is going to go off scale, and then you're going to have like 1 point something amps. So when you do the V equals IR amp calculations, guess what you have to do to those milliamps? You have to convert them to straight amps. We want straight amps in our equation. All right? So that's an ammeter. The voltmeter is much easier. So let's go back to the beginning. The ammeter is hooked up in series. Our ammeter is part of the circuit. So when we put it in, we had to actually open up the circuit. The light should go off, and then insert it so that the current will flow in and out of the ammeter. So when you hook it up, you need to hook it up in series. That's a hugely important thing to remember. Alright, the voltmeter is much easier than the ammeter. The scales are read the same way. Here's our simple circuit. Easy enough. Okay, so here's our simple circuit. And what we're going to do with the voltmeters, we're going to leave this circuit put together. So let's see what it looks like once we hook the voltmeter in. So over here is the battery, and it's hooked up to the light bulb. So this is the simple circuit we had before, just taken from a different direction. And then what you do with the voltmeter is you just clamp one side of the voltmeter to one side of the voltmeter to the other side. The same problems occur with it going negative. If it goes negative, just switch these two. Whomp. Okay. If it goes off scale, just move it over to the next one. So the voltmeter is much easier to do. So this will give me the voltage. These two here will give me the voltage across the light bulb. I could take these two leads here and hook them up to opposite sides of the battery, and that'll give me the voltage across the battery. Now sometimes they're the same, but if I have multiple light bulbs, if I had a whole bunch of light bulbs strung up along here, then each one of these would have its own voltage, and the voltage would be different than the voltage of the battery. So the voltmeter is really easy. All you have to do is clamp it to the different sides. Leave your circuit hooked up. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to take it apart. Ammeter, you have to take it apart. Voltmeter, you just leave it all set up and you just clamp it to different parts of the circuit. So we're going to do this in a lab, and if at any time you're confused, please come back and watch this video. We're going to do it in the lab first day of class, and then you may or may not remember what you did. So if you don't remember what you did, please, please, please come back to this video. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.